Welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. The 3 keys to your success is just moments away. Here's your host, Brian Kelly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind Body Business Show. Oh my goodness, this is going to be yet another fantastic, phenomenal, tremendous, stupendous show because of our guest expert, Simon Crowe, who is sitting in the wings, anxiously awaiting to come on camera and join all of you wonderful people. This is going to be a hoot. Simon Crowe is coming all the way, by the way, from London, England, where it is 1:31 in the morning there. You want to talk about dedicated. I can't wait to dig into this guy's wonderful, beautiful brain and see what makes him so successful. Before we get to that, the Mind Body Business Show, what is that all about? Well, in my now 55 years on this planet, I have spent the last 10 years or so studying just those people that have achieved a high level of success. And what I found in those years of studying, and that's through personal contacts, through networking, through reading their books, many different forms. But what I found was they all seem to have what I call the 3 pillars of success. And you may have guessed what those are. The first one being mind. What is that? Well, that's mindset. They all have a very powerful and, more importantly, flexible mindset. And let me tell you, being an entrepreneur, if you're not one yet, you will see what I mean very, very soon when you go down this path. It's a good path. It's a wonderful ride. And body, what is that? Well, each and every person that I've interviewed, that I've studied, that had a high level of success, really took care of their body. Now, that doesn't mean that if they were a guy, they looked like a bodybuilder, nor if they were a woman, they didn't always look like a supermodel. It just means that they took care of their body. They exercised on a regular basis. They didn't go crazy. They don't have to. Some do more than others. And the other part is the nutrition. They always are taking good care of themselves with what they eat and drink. And then business. Oh my goodness, that one is multifaceted. We're talking sales, team building, systematizing. Oh my goodness, it just goes on. And marketing, it is so multifaceted that it would be nearly impossible for one person to master all the skill sets required to not just start a business, but run it, maintain it, and grow it. The good news there is no one person has to do every skill in a business. The beautiful thing is those that are super successful are also very smart, and they know that they just simply need to delegate those things out to those who have those skill sets that they may lack in. And so those are the 3 primary pillars that successful people seem to have in common. And Simon Crowe is no different than anyone else. And we're going to be bringing him on very, very soon. Real quick before we do that, another very, very important trait, if you will, in very successful people is they are all voracious readers, and they read not just, they read books that mean something, that help them to catapult themselves in their business, in their success, and in their personal life. So with that, we're going to quickly segue into a little segment I like to affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
And there you see it on the side. That is reachyourpeaklibrary.com. And by the way, really quick, if I may also mention, while you're watching the show, be sure to keep your eyeballs on this show, and your ears on the audio. And what I mean by that is please resist the temptation to go running off to a website or another resource, because I'm sure Simon will have some as well when he comes on. The best part of any type of show or event like this is that the magic always happens in the room. And I would really hate for you to miss any great golden nuggets that Simon brings on tonight. And so please stay with us throughout, and there'll be a reason for it, and you're going to learn why. There's a little incentive for you to stick around, if you will. Reachyourpeaklibrary.com. That is a website I literally built with you in mind. The entrepreneur, the business owner, the person that's looking to add to their depth and breadth of knowledge in the arenas of business and personal development. And so as I was reading these books, I started to catalog them on this website and put them in here so that wonderful people like yourselves could have access to this wonderful array of, these are impactful books. These are, not every book I've ever read is in this list. And by the way, every book that is in here, I have read, and they've all had some kind of profound positive impact on my life. And you can see the list just goes on and on and on. And you can just click on any of these buttons. It goes straight to Amazon, I believe, to you, so you can pick up those books. I didn't put this together to make money. I did this as a service to you. And so there it is. If you're looking to start, if you haven't started reading, this would be a great place to start, because now you can go look at a list that's been vetted by at least one other successful person. And the odds of you getting something from it are much greater as a result. And that's why I put it there. And for those of you that are already avid readers, you might find one or two or even more on this list that you have not picked up or read or even knew existed. And so it's good for you as well. Fantastic. And speaking of success, you know what time it is? I think you do. It is time to bring on the man of the hour. And I'm talking 1:30 a.m. hour in London, England. Let's bring him on right now, shall we?
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, all the way from London, England, Simon Crowe. How are you doing this morning, Simon?
Yeah, I'm doing really, really well, actually. It's been a long day, but we've made it. Really happy to be here.
Fantastic. And I got to tell you, you look fresh as a daisy. I don't know how you do it. You just must be that youth. Before we came on the camera, we compared ages. He's a young man because he's got me beat by 1 year on the youth side. Hey, it takes 1 day and you're younger than me, right? It doesn't matter. Hey, before we formally introduce Simon on the show, and Simon, I hope you're okay with this, I want to quickly make an announcement that for those of you that stay on with us to the very end of this show, you are going to have the opportunity to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort in Mexico. And that's all brought to us, compliments of powertexting.com. You see it there on the screen on the upper right if you're watching. If you're listening on Audible, then be sure to take notes. Same with those of you that are actually watching, is take notes on a little piece of paper and a pen. That way you're not tempted to run off and look at other websites while you're watching the show. And so stick with us to the end, because we give away one of these vacations every single show. And I will tell you this, just so you know, there is no timeshare presentation waiting for you at the other side. No. It's nothing like that. This is a legitimate 100% vacation. They treat you as if you are just another guest. And I know this because the founder of powertexting.com has actually tested it himself no less than 3 times and said each time was a phenomenal experience. All right, let's get on to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Crowe himself. Simon is an artist, an adventurer, and a master in the field of personal growth who specializes in connecting successful people with their deepest purpose. As a qualified coach for over 12 years, he has guided numerous courageous individuals in achieving greater self-expression and fulfillment and experiencing deeper meaning in their lives. He works with creative self-starters who have mastered conventional success and who are hungry to reappraise their life in honor of their unique gifts. I love this. Simon helps them achieve absolute clarity around their true life purpose and create an extraordinary life for themselves and their communities. Oh my goodness. I love this because, you know, what is the most important part that we often hear? And I know you know this, Simon, what people are searching for. People are always searching. And that's always, what is my purpose? And so what you do for people is an amazing gift, So that is phenomenal. If you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about how that process works, how you can take somebody who's trying to understand what their purpose is, and they want to know, well, gosh, Simon, I don't know what my purpose is. Can you help me? How do you go about helping them to find that?
Yeah, what a great question to start with. And first of all, I just wanted to say I loved the whole introduction. You know, you really value here. So hopefully if we've got some, we're going to make some great points during our conversation. So your question was, how do I help people connect with their purpose? Well, what I do is really help them to look into their hearts. and to see the things that really they're passionate about, help them get clear on their values, their unique gifts, the things that they're excited about, the things that give them joy, the things that make them feel that are in flow. And then what we try to do is mix all those up and synergize them into a single point of focus, which I call maybe a purpose statement. But once people identified that and got that real clarity around what their purpose statement is, they can then use that as almost like a true north when they're making decisions, when they're deciding what to do next, when they're looking at opportunities and they want to evaluate them. Once they've got it clear in their head what they're here to do, it makes those choices so much easier and so much more motivating, because it's so aligned to who that person is at their real core and in their heart.
And I just love that. I love everything about that. Phenomenal service that you provide, and very valuable service that you provide for others. And one of the things I love to do is sometimes after finding out about a person, like through their bio, their online bio, is to actually dig a little bit deeper. I'm a deeply curious individual, and I like to know, what is it that is going on in that beautiful brain of yours that gets you to the level of success you've already achieved, and then to maintain it, to grow it. It's an amazing thing. You have an amazing story about how you met your wife, and that just kind of holds true to who you are as a person, just an amazing man. And I just wanted to find out a little bit more, and dig into your beautiful vastness up there, because there's a lot going on there, obviously. And that would be when you get up in the morning, Simon, which I know it's morning right now, and you should be in bed by now. But when you get up in the morning, after the show, and you actually get some sleep, and then you finally come to wake up around 2 in the afternoon after this is over. And then let's say, if you're anything like me, I wake up a little groggy in the beginning, and, you kind of get up, you swing your feet over the side of the bed, they hit the ground, you start to wake up, you start to come to. For you, Simon, every single day, you know how it is as being an entrepreneur, it can be a struggle, but it's a thrill ride. But for you, what is that one thing, if you could pick one, that really gets you going, that motivates you once you come to really realize, oh my gosh, it's a new day in front of me, I can't wait? What is that for you?
Well, I have a whole kind of series of things that I do every morning. But if I was to pick one, it would be that I connect with my vision each and every day. So I have a process where I lay down on my yoga mat with my head on a pillow, put on some amazing music, and start to imagine my vision board. I start to imagine the things, the activities, the successes, the things I want to experience. And what I really try to do, and I do this every single morning without fail, is to imagine, who would I be if I already had these things? So what are those qualities, characteristics? What are the things that I would embody if I was the person who was already creating these things? And I try to list all of these different characteristics in my head. So committed, someone who's in integrity, someone who follows through on what they say they're going to do, someone who is flexible. You've mentioned some of these things already, and I list all these things, and then I try to bring into my body the feeling of what it would be if I had those characteristics already within me. Because my intention through this process is to start to shift my mindset to a mindset of success. So move away from my limiting beliefs, those parts of me that don't feel good enough or don't feel that they could achieve the things that I want to achieve, but actually spend a good 25, 30 minutes every day going through this process. I have a whole breathing regime that I do while I'm doing this as well, which takes me into this really lovely space where I get very, very relaxed and connecting with the vision, and just start really going into dream space. And I just love connecting with the things that are important to me. And that's how I start my day. That's followed by a 2.5 minute cold shower, which is something I've been doing for about the last 6 months or so. And that has been extraordinary also.
Wow. I like everything except the cold shower part. I was with you the whole way.
Well,
I'm kidding.
About the cold shower, and this is something that I picked up from Wim Hof. I'm sure you're familiar with him. That what we're often do in life is we get scared by things and we let our will take over. And part of having a cold shower is saying, actually, I'm the rider on this particular horse. And if I say we're going to stand under cold water for 2.5 minutes, that's what we're going to do. And that's the same, I guess, energy and focus which gets me out of the house on a Thursday when I go for a run around the local park. I don't like running at all. But I'm training myself to be the person who, when it says I'm going to do something, I have, if you like, that veto, and find a way of doing the things that I say that I'll do.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. In fact, yeah, I have heard about the cold shower thing, and you said 2.5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's long enough. Yep, I agree.
The first day I started with 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And literally over 30 days, by 5 seconds a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And here's the one thing I wanted to mention to everyone that's watching and listening right now, wherever you might be, it might be live or the recording later, is Simon does something that nearly every successful person I have ever interviewed does. And if you want to know what that secret is, then come back tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. I will tell you right now. That is, he has a routine that he stays faithful to, and he does it every single day. And the beautiful thing with this show is, I like to say that everyone watching, you have our express consent to model anything you hear on this show. And model is a fancy word for copy. And is it okay with you, Simon, that someone copies your routine or anything you say that will help them to become successful?
Oh, I'd love them to first of all try it out, and then to make and adapt it to whoever they are and whatever works for them. That's, again, I think part of my process is playing with these processes and finding out what works and what I can add together and how I can modify it. And yes, absolutely. I'd love people to, if anything that I say resonates, then give it a go.
Yeah, and that's what, I feel like I feel like it's Christmas every week, and because I would rather give
this week.
Yeah, it's coming soon, but it feels like it is every week all year long, because I love giving, far more than I love receiving, and I get to give the gift of people like you to the world, and it doesn't end with this live show, because we repurpose this, as people can see on the screen. We're all over the place. We're on different platforms. We do podcasts as well. This show will end up on Roku and Amazon Fire TV, soon Apple TV and Chromecast. So those are all on-demand television services, and really wanted to do the best job we can to spread the word of Simon Crowe, to give the value that this man brings to the table. And you just heard why. He's one of those individuals that we love to do this with and for, and that's because he loves to give. He says, yes, please do copy me. And that's the thing. A lot of people think, Simon, through like media, through television shows, through the news, that those that are successful are stingy. It's so interesting how that stereotype, I don't know how that came to be, but what I've found in my walk with successful people everywhere I go, they are the most giving people on the planet. It's just the opposite. Have you noticed a similar trait when you?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd never have got to where I am in my business if there hadn't been generous people giving to me. And it's wonderful, because that's how we do it. We give us gain. You keep sharing. You learn. You share. You take from somebody else. Why be stingy? There's so much more that can be achieved if we share insights and support and love and inspiration. There's just so much more we can get done if we help one another.
Yeah, and I remember, I don't know how many years ago it was, maybe 10 or more, when it used to be the opposite, where people would get ahead through competition, not through collaboration. Yeah. And then this movement, if you will, started to take place, where people started collaborating and opening themselves up to work with other people. And I love that, because it's same here. I'm like, I don't have anything to hide. And if you want to take it and run with it and become prosperous, great. It doesn't mean that they're going to steal all my clients. There's, like you said, there's so many to go around. It's insane in a great way. It's so amazing. And that's the thing. People have learned how to not live in scarcity and learn to live in abundance, and realize there's an unlimited supply of anything you need on this planet. All you have to do is go after it. And actually, if you help people, you'll achieve even greater success than if you don't. That's just proven fact, that time and time again. And I love your routine, because I know that when I stop doing any part of a routine, I notice it. I start feeling it. I start seeing the result change. And so it's very important. I wanted to circle back on that for our viewers and listeners is even if you don't have a routine today, go back and look at all of our past shows. If Simon's didn't resonate with you, then look at our past shows. Nearly every guest expert talks about a similar habit. They just do different things in the morning than Simon does. Everyone does something different. I haven't had 2 people do the same thing yet. And that's okay. But here's a way to start. Do what Simon does. Just do it. Take a cold shower. Start with 5 seconds. I mean, 2.5 minutes. I don't think I could survive in the first time. No way. I did try. I started that for a while, and I said, okay, I'm okay. I'm not gonna do that anymore. But so that one specifically wasn't for me. But that's okay. I've got others that help to make me successful, and that's an example right there. But to get up and do visions. Oh my gosh, you said it perfectly. That you went through the feeling. You brought up the feeling that goes with those pictures. That's when it gets juicy. That's when it starts really taking hold in your subconscious brain. And that's when your subconscious then starts taking you down the path toward those visions. It's an amazing, I'm getting tingly all over here just because of what you said. Are you familiar with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming?
I'm familiar with it. I've never trained in NLP, but I'm familiar with it. Okay.
Because you sounded like you were talking from NLP background when you were talking through that whole process. And I was like, this is amazing because it works. It's just the science of success. It works. It's phenomenal. And for any of you out there that want to get your mindset basically reprogrammed for the better, then look up neuro-linguistic programming, do some searching. Richard Bandler, John Grinder, those two developed this science not long ago, less than 40 years ago. So many people's lives have been changed as a result. So did you do something before what you're doing now, before you did coaching, Simon?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Do you want to know what it was?
I'm curious if it's okay.
Of course. I used to work in education.
Okay.
So for the first 20, more than that, years of my life, I worked in adult learning. So I started off as an English language teacher. I traveled around a little bit. I spent 6 years living in Italy, so I speak pretty good Italian. I spent a year in Spain, and then came back to the UK and did a master's degree in media technology for teaching adults, and spent 8 years working in management within adult learning in the UK, helping people, giving people a second chance through adult education. And it was fantastic. It was a really wonderful opportunity that I had. I managed a team of 12 people. It was a stellar group of people. And then something shifted. And it's interesting. This is really what led me to the path that I'm on now. My team became so effective that I really was becoming less and less needed. I was becoming redundant in a sense. Because I'd go in there, my team were really on it. They helped one another. They were just fabulous. And I'd go into my office and no one would knock on the door any longer. And, and I'm thinking, well, what am I doing? And I just began to lose confidence in myself. And I remember just I was on the verge of a depression. I was really unhappy. And I thought that I just don't know what to do, but who else will give me a job? And I was really losing confidence in myself. And then I had the good fortune to work with a coach. And this coach asked me a fantastic question. She asked me what I wanted. And up until that point, I'd never asked myself the question because I hadn't realized you actually got a choice in life. I thought life was just responding to the stuff that came along. But to actually be asked the question, what do you want, was just incredible. And it just opened up a whole new world. It opened up the opportunity to start making decisions and choices and creating visions of the things that I wanted to do. And it was so kind of life-changing for me that I decided that I wanted to do that for other people. And that's why, 15 years ago now, I trained as a coach.
Wow. That's a phenomenal. I mean, you were serving other people from the very get-go. I mean, in the education arena, right away. That tells me and it tells everybody watching or listening that Simon Crowe is someone who loves to serve humanity and give and help. And isn't that the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur, Simon? And that is, not that we have to help people, but we get to. And as a result of helping others, we can actually, earn a living from it. And the more we make, the more people we can help. So it's a wonderful cycle, if you will. And a lot of people are thinking, oh, you guys are so rich, and all you do is you get rich and you spend your money. It's like, I personally reinvest nearly all of it in growing my business and getting and reaching out and helping more people. And that's true to most everyone I've interviewed on this show, and most of the entrepreneurs I've met out in the field, so to speak, as well. And I know that's you too, Simon. It's obvious.
Yes, and as I'm thinking about my goals for next year, the things that I want to create and achieve next year, I'm not necessarily thinking in dollar or pound figures. I'm thinking in how many people would I love to impact? How many people would I love to help? How can I do that differently? One of the reasons for wanting to be in this conversation with you is that we get to touch more people. We get to share some of our stuff, and if it resonates, then people might, they might try something different, and they might have a different experience in life as a result. And that's what my plan for next year is to start doing more stuff through Facebook Lives, etc. Start sharing some of the stuff that I've learned. And the wonderful thing is it's a free and open platform. We can just share expertise and hope people find it valuable.
And that's one other thing that really stood out to me when you were talking about your vision, when you go through that every morning and what you're visioning for yourself. And you said, everything you were in your visions weren't what were, it's like, I forgot what the word you said, but it was, what can I do? What can I get or something? I forget, but I was expecting you to go down. I wasn't expecting you to go down. I was anticipating others thinking you're going to say, oh, I want a fancy car, a fancy house. And the cool thing about your description was no material things were ever mentioned. It was about increasing your integrity, your flexibility, all of these for helping to serve others, not for self-gain of material wealth or things. And right then and there, if people are listening, that tells me and it tells them what kind of person you are. And that's beautiful, Simon, because now a lot more people will want to connect with you. I know it, and they should.
I'll tell you a little story about that, because I did this vision board, and the process is you clip out images of all the diamond rings and gold watches that you want. And I'm thinking, I don't actually want anything, and it's not because I'm wealthy and I've got everything. I just don't have huge sort of desire to purchase stuff. What I want to do is, who could I meet? Who would I like to spend some time with? What's an experience? What's something I'd like to learn? I have got one or two objects, but I put a really fancy car down, but it's nothing to do with owning the car. But what I love is the design of the car, the boldness of the person who had the vision to build the car is the energy that I've put into my vision board, not the car itself. I want to be someone who's bold and creative. So I thought, well, this guy's come up with this incredible, it's the new Tesla truck. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's so out there, isn't it? Like, I don't want to own one, but I thought to have to be bold enough to think in those terms, that's going on my vision board, because that's the feeling that I want to create with. I don't necessarily want the truck or the motorbike or but again, I've got a motorbike up there because I love one of my values is around freedom. I love the idea of just jumping on a big old motorbike and, driving through the rain.
Ooh, I don't know about, be careful. We want to keep you around for a while, but yeah, you can go a lot more places on a we call it a motorcycle here, a motorbike, than you can in a car for sure. Down tight alleys or even out into off-road. If your bike is equipped for that, I hope, if you do that. But yeah, I used to dirt bike ride a lot and loved it. I know what you mean about that.
And the point here, isn't it? It's like, who would I be? How would I feel? Because to me, that the feelings, emotions are the kind of the language of the body, and if we can train the body to already feel in advance the emotions of the achieved or completed goal or vision, then what we're doing is we're training ourselves, if you like you would train for a marathon. You're training yourself ready to create the things that you want to experience.
I love it. And you know what? We're always in training.
Yeah.
Always. We're either training ourselves something that's going to be, take us to where we want to go, or we're training ourselves to go the opposite direction, but we're always in training. And so I always like to say, be careful what thoughts you're feeding yourself, because your whole body is listening.
Yeah.
It's been proven that all of our cells are joined, and it's amazing. I'm not going to go down that path just this moment, but fantastic. Now, as an entrepreneur, after you made that transition some 15 years ago, I'm sure that from that moment on till now, it has just been a smooth ride and nothing ever has gone wrong, right?
It is.
Of course, it's, being an entrepreneur is not for everyone. I'll just straight up say that because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a different mindset. It takes a different kind of level of drive, a willingness to risk, a lot of things. It's an amazing thing. I love every minute of it. I love the ups. I love the downs too, because I know from the downs I learn and then get back to the up. But if you can think back over that time when you started up till now, what would you say, if one would stick out, what was something that you struggled with? Maybe you failed at it. And then, I look at nothing as a failure. It's more of an opportunity to learn. So in that light, what would be one failure, if you will, that comes to mind for you that you then turned around and learned something from it and then improved going forward?
There's a wonderful expression, it'll be all right in the end. And if it's not and if it's not all right, it's not the end. And I genuinely try to live by that. So yeah, I've made lots and lots and lots of mistakes. But my belief is that, well, I've not stopped trying. So this is just another opportunity to learn. And I'm not saying it's not painful. And sometimes I feel like giving up. And sometimes I can spend a few days under the duvet just feeling wretched. But the sort of things, the kinds of failures that really knock me are when people reject my offer. For example, if I'm in conversation with somebody and I make a proposal about working together and they say, yeah, I'd love to do that, and then I never hear from them again, like this happens, and I tell you, I find those moments really difficult to be with. I've put on programs and invested up front to have people support, and I was taking a group out to Africa with me, and I invested a lot of money up front, and I didn't manage to fit it. I got a really nice group together, but I didn't make any money. And so the question I always ask myself is, well, what am I learning here? What is it about this experience that I've really enjoyed, which I want to repeat? What are some of the things that I've learned from this experience that I don't want to repeat? And I try to course correct. I don't always get it right. But as I said, I'm in it until the end. And if it's not right yet, then it's not the end. And I think that's part of the kind of the entrepreneurial spirit is just keep in the game. Just keep in the game. You never know when luck's going to change, or when you're going to meet that person, or you're going to have that conversation, or you're going to get that moment of insight, or that vision that you've been kind of working on. You suddenly realize that, you're sitting in that crazy truck that you never imagined. And to me, that's the beauty of this. It's like life is like the tide. The waves come in, the waves come out, and you've got to take a bigger picture and not be too excited when the waves come in and too disappointed when they go out. It's just part of life, and I think that's part of the mindset of an entrepreneur. We fix problems, we help people solve things. That's what we do. And I think that often if you have a job, then what you're really doing is just performing a role in someone else's dream.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather live my own dream and get it wrong and have the opportunity to correct my own mistakes and not have to, and not have to kind of, I don't know, make it all right for somebody else. This is, I trust myself deeply to be committed and to do the best to improve every day that I can. I don't need somebody standing over me telling me, what I'm getting wrong and what I need to do better. I know that better than anybody.
And on the concept of mindset, we were talking before we came on live, you and I, and, right now it's just after 2 a.m. in London, where you are right now. And you
have to remind me.
And you confided in me and said, when I went to go schedule and be on this show, I would like for you to tell that story, because this is how a successful mind works.
Well, I got obviously the invitation, the opportunity to hook up with you and find a way of being on this show. And I filled on all of the information and the details and everything. And then it says, choose your time. And it said 1:30 a.m. And I thought, there must be a time that works for me. And I thought, I'm not going to do this. And then I thought to myself, if I'm going to be the kind of person that decides I'm not going to be, have this fantastic opportunity to be here with you and have this conversation because it's at night, or, I'd rather be asleep, then I've got no business being an entrepreneur. I tell you, I've done courses, when I was doing my coach training, where I was setting my alarm and getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning because the course was being held in Australia, through teleconference. You just do what needs to be done, right?
I love it.
Isn't it about showing up?
It is. And I often say that I teach, my company is an entrepreneur training company, and say one of the most important things you could learn, it's one of the simplest, and that is 3 words: just show up. Yeah. It's interesting. I went to many, many, many networking seminars, boot camps, you name it. I mean, you know how they give you those badges with the lanyards? Yeah. Are you familiar with Mr. T from back in the day?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
So remember he was walking on those gold chain, right? Yeah. And so I literally did this from stage. I used to speak on stage and hold my own events, and I would have one of my assistants bring up all of my past lanyards. And while there's a picture of Mr. T up on the big screen, and I'll put them on and say, look, I put Mr. T to shame because I had so many. But the point of that whole metaphor and demonstration was just show up, and show up over and over and over again. I got to the point where I was doing it too much. I backed off a lot. And then just this year, I went to 2 more events, which, I was like, wow, I haven't done this in a long time. And both times I got business directly from just being there. I wasn't there looking for business. I wasn't looking for people I was just there to be active, to learn, and to meet people and see, and just keep your antennas up. If someone needs assistance, then I will then take it down that path. But yeah, just show up. That's gold, man, right there.
Yeah. So, what I said at the beginning about who would you be? What are the characteristics that I would embody if I were if I were achieving my visualizations? And one of them is to show up, be committed, follow through on your road, stay in your integrity. I heard that they did some research, and they discovered that if you just followed through on everything that you said that you would do, you would increase your productivity by between 100 and 500%. That's not doing anything. It's no additional work, that's just doing the things that you said you're going to do. That's just staying in integrity. That's just showing up. 500% increase in productivity just by doing the things that you tell yourself you're going to do. Well, that's a pretty good, that's a pretty good thing to follow, I think.
Yeah. And there's, for people that have difficulty, write the stuff down every day or every night before you go to bed, the things you want to accomplish the next day or that same day, depending on your preference. And then you can start ticking off those things that you complete. And I started doing that. And I actually used an electronic thing, a guide. It was more of an advanced approach, but it did really light a spark under my butt. And I got way more done. And I felt good. I felt a little bit hurried at times, but it was better than just going all over the place. I was throwing darts and there was no dartboard anywhere near. I was just hoping it would stick into something. So yeah, you couldn't be more on point with just show up, stay committed to what you're telling yourself you're going to do. I mean, who would be worse to break a contract with other than yourself, right? It's like, wow, fantastic. And so one of the things I've learned that is kind of like it's just a really bad, almost like disease that can crop up in a person's mind that will keep them from going forward and succeeding at the incredible levels that we're all designed to do. And that would be in the realm of this emotion known as fear. And we're talking about not the kind of fear that's the fight or flight fear where your life's on the line and, maybe you're driving on the Los Angeles freeway and someone's pointing a gun. I'm kidding. If you're running away from a bear or an animal, like when the olden days when we were out in the elements and needed to have this fight or flight, we're talking about more of a hesitation and resistance kind of fear. And it's that, you've probably seen those cartoons. You got an angel on one shoulder and a little devil on the other. and the angel's telling you, you should do that, and the devil's telling you to do something else that's completely not in your value system. And that would be the fear side, which is avoiding doing what you know is best for you, yet you're talking yourself out of it. And so we all have it. We're born with it. And I was curious with you, Simon, if you can recall what was your greatest fear, and then how did you manage it?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't need to recall it. It's a fear that I think that my biggest fear is the fear of failure. And what I mean by that is the fear of not creating all of the things that I really want to create. Like, I have this great list of things that I want to do, and the experiences I want to co-create with people. And I get really fearful sometimes that I'm just not going to be able to do it. I'm not going to be good enough. It's not going to work for me. I'm not, there's going to be something which is going to get in my way. And that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that I am my worst enemy, I guess, and that I'm not going to be good enough to complete the things that I want to complete. How I combat that was, you just talked about the devil and the angel. What you have to think about, I think, is what language do you need to hear, and just use more of that language. So if you've got a friend who is just failing and struggling with something, what would you say to that friend? You'd tell them that they were okay and don't worry, and I'm sure you're going to do this because you're the kind of person who really perseveres and you're so good at this, and people really love you and they really really appreciate what you do. But then we come to our own self-talk, and it's like, you're rubbish, and why can't you do what you say you're going to do? And I just think, no, speak to yourself as you would speak to your best friend, because you can't think negative thoughts and positive thoughts at the same time. So what I do is I just drown out the negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And the process is to retrain, retune that mindset, that identity as somebody who is not successful. And it's been proven to work. It's, this auto-suggestion, this self-hypnosis. This is how we change the subconscious, is through repeating the kinds of language that we need to hear. So just be your own best friend. And even if it seems absurd, that you've just made the biggest balls up that you can imagine, right? Tell yourself you're great. Tell yourself it's all going to be okay. Tell yourself that it doesn't matter. Tell yourself that next time hundreds of people are going to come on this trip that you've just spent, $10,000 on. Just tell yourself the things that you need to hear, because that's the way that we reprogram. And when we start to reprogram our identity, then we start to create from the new identity. And the alternative is just feel crap and tell yourself you're crap, and you'll just get more crap, right?
Yes.
And nobody wants that. There's enough out there already. Why would you want to do it to yourself? Well, I know why. Because we're not trained to do anything different. So just notice whenever you're giving yourself, you can't choose the impact of the words that you use to yourself. So if you tell yourself bad stuff, it will give you, you'll have bad physical reactions. But you can choose the language you use. So choose good words.
So that's the good news right there. Right there. That is the golden nugget. We all have a choice every single day and every single minute of every single day as we're thinking those thoughts about ourselves. Because let's face it, we are all our own worst critic, right? It seems to be human nature. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but we tend to do that. And like you say, talk that way to ourselves. And that's, everything you're talking about, it's amazing because we use NLP processes to take care of a lot of this by removing that hesitation, that fear from the subconscious mind, by overwriting, like it's kind of like a program, and you're overwriting, say, a cassette tape, what used to be, this horrible grunge music. Well, I'm not saying anything bad about grunge music. And then you replace it with smooth jazz, and then all of a sudden everything's great. It's like taking care and overwriting your limiting beliefs. You mentioned that earlier, limiting beliefs. And then you get what you focus on. You said concentrate, and I used to say this from the stage, like if you focus, if you're continually focusing, I use the same word you did, on crap, you're just going to get more and more crap.
Yeah.
If you focus on what you want, guess what you're going to get? Exactly what you're focusing on. So it's, again, comes down to choice, like you said it perfectly. This is gold for, I hope everyone's taking notes and It's one thing to take notes. It's another entirely to then take action on those notes and put this into action. And when those thoughts are creeping into your head, I always say that the number one key, the first step, the absolute most important step is to first become aware that you're doing it. If you don't even realize you're doing it, then there's no way you can fix it. So start tuning your antenna, so to speak, to listen in to say, hey, how am I talking to myself? Okay, that one wasn't good. Now I need to, you can just reframe it, just simply turn it around and say, oh, Brian, you're really screwed up, but it's going to be a lot better here in just a minute because I have the talent to make this better, whatever. But you can easily right the ship if you just get in that habit. I love this, Simon. These are phenomenal suggestions and tips. Fantastic.
But what I also just want to kind of reiterate that this is a continual process. Yes. It's not like I've done it, I'm cool now, everything works for me. It doesn't. I make all the same mistakes, well, not the same mistakes, but I make as many mistakes or the same number of errors now as I've always done, because I'm always looking to expand and try new things. I've just started doing some Facebook Lives. I don't think anyone's listening. It's the loneliest place to be when you press that go live and you go, let me see who's joining me today. And there's nobody, right? But you can't get good at doing these things unless you do them. So I'm just going to keep doing them, and maybe someday we'll get some interaction and we'll start to build. But I just want to emphasize that it's not, it's okay for you or it's okay for him or okay for her. They've got it all sorted. People do this because they've learned the importance of the discipline of continually doing these kinds of practices. And if I wake up in the morning and I feel bad, I have a choice. Either I can live the day from a place of feeling bad, or I can spend half an hour lying on my yoga mat with my head on my pillow, telling myself it's going to be a good day until I believe it. And then I start my day from that place. And it sounds ridiculous, but I literally will spend half an hour changing my mood, because that means I'm going to have a better day. And I've got, I'm 54 now. I've got, the number of days are getting shorter, and I want each one to be worth living. I don't want to have to write a day off because I've woken up in a bad mood, or I've, and I don't feel positive. I just want to get myself in the best state that I can possibly reach for on any given day. And that takes a practice. It takes consistency, it takes repetition.
Yeah. Speaking of consistency and repetition, back to your comment on doing the live and, hearing crickets, so to speak, is I saw a great segment of an interview of a guy named Lewis Howes. He's very prominent in entrepreneur circles, a big name, a former professional football player in arena football, if memory serves correct. And he was, they talked about this concept of doing a podcast. And should you, what was his advice for someone thinking about starting one? And it was really, it was a cool answer. He basically said, hey, if you're looking at just dabbling in it, don't do it. And he said, what I mean by dabble is if you're not ready to commit a full 3 years to it and stay consistent with it, then don't even bother beginning it. And so that can give people a lot of hope to know that it can take, and often does take, quite some time to garner a good following, whether it be live video or podcast or both, everything above. It takes time. And, we're also used to this instant gratification, the societies we all grow up in, and we can go get a burger in 2 seconds. Don't get those. Those aren't good for you. And you can get anything, instant coffee, instant anything. And so we want it now. And if it doesn't come right now, then, well, we're not satisfied. So we're going to move on. So that was telling. I loved hearing that from him because, he's a very successful entrepreneur in his own right. And that was great advice. Some could look at that and say, God, that's bad news. I'm like, no, that's great news, because that just took all the pressure off. I'm still going to work as hard as I can to keep growing always. But that just said, you know what? I'm not alone. That's what it really told me.
So one of the things on my vision board at the moment is that I want to run an online program for 500 people. Okay. I've just done a Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago, and maybe there were 2 people, right? So it's a bit of a way to go, but that doesn't mean I need to stop. That means the only way I'm going to get to a point where I can have 5 people engaged on one of my, online programs is to start where I am now. There's no other way of me getting to that place than starting where I am. And again, I think this is another lesson for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Is you have to start when you don't feel ready, and it's scary and it's hard, and it's, you know, I literally, you know, I'm happy to share this. I've got 2 or 3 people. There's been some engagement afterwards. You know, I've got about 16 people watch them. You know, that's good use of my time. And maybe in 3 years, you're saying, maybe I'm going to have 500 people, but I'm not going to get there unless I start.
Exactly. And then once you've started to be consistent and continue, and then refine and improve. I will say this, you know, doing what I'm doing right now with you, I didn't do this with the intention of the output that, or the outcome that happened, but I found that just having an interview style show with entrepreneurs is an amazing, incredibly powerful lead magnet. And so you did not get accepted to come on this show, Simon, so I could sell you something. I'll say that right up front. However, down the road, there may be something where maybe I need something from you, or maybe you will, and you'll reach out. And that's happened organically. So I'm not using this as a sales machine, but I found by talking to people at those last 2 networking events I was at, I literally didn't finish my sentence about, they asked, what do you do? And I had just stopped doing fitness business. I did a full transition about 7-8 months ago into doing automation. I was doing this show already because it still fit because of the body part of it, as you can imagine. And they asked, and I said, well, I interview successful entrepreneurs such as yourselves, and I stream live on multiple platforms on the internet. And at that moment, they're all, I kid you not, this happened 2 different occasions, 2 different complete locations. They all reaching for their business card and handing it to me.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that was unintentional, but amazing. So, you know, you might think nobody's watching. Pardon?
I said, do you know why that was?
They want exposure.
But also, entrepreneurs solve problems.
Yeah.
These people want the solution that you're offering for the problem they've got. They want exposure. You know how to do that. You've solved a problem for them. They want, you know, you don't have to sell. You just need to show that you can help somebody with a problem that they're struggling with. I work, you know, I meet people and they're going, oh, you know, I'm really successful. I've got this great job. I've been, you know, a lawyer for many years, but I feel so empty inside. And I say, I can really help you with that. I can help you connect with your unique purpose, and you can start to create a life where you define what success looks like. And they go, oh my God, I need to talk to you.
That's it.
And I go, and you know what the wonderful thing is, and this is the same for you, I know, is that that's the work that I love. It's not like I'm flogging car tires because you know I can make a living. It's I love working with people around purpose, because when people connect with the thing that's most important to them in their hearts, they come alive. They start to live more fulfilled lives. They're better husbands, they're better fathers, they're better wives, better children, better co-workers. Well, that to me is, and then if we can then drop those pebbles in the mill pond and we're all kind of, you know, I've never met you before, we're having such a great time. Why? Because we have a similar mindset. We're here to share and help and support one another. You know, that's what I want to be part of, is connecting all these little droplets up so that we start to create a bigger movement of people feeling, expressing their hearts, expressing the things that they're most passionate about.
Yeah, I mean, what you do, Simon, is you help people to create a better quality of life, and how fulfilling that must be to do that, you know, day in and day out for other people, to help them, to know you had some part in that. And you know, it's a lot of it's just coming to an awareness. I was reading on your website some of the testimonials that, you know, some just said, I didn't even know what was wrong. You know, it was like I was a part of a grand painting, but I was stuck in the canvas. I couldn't get out far enough to see what was really wrong. But Simon told me what it was, and he said, "Oh my God!" And he got all excited, and then hired you at the end. And so I can imagine how fulfilling that must be for you, Simon. So, and I'm saying all this because anybody out there that is seeking their purpose, that's looking to find what their true purpose is, you've got a guy who's a master at helping you to determine what that is. And it will be an exciting time. All the stories I read, on your site, Simon. They were just all giddy with excitement. And what a wonderful gift you are giving people. And I know it's not a free gift, and nothing worth a lot of value is usually free. But you know what? It might be worth a lot of money. It is worth a lot of money, I should say. It's worth a ton of money. How much is your happiness and quality of life worth? And it doesn't matter. I don't even know what you charge, Simon. Just kind of laying the groundwork and saying, look, for those of you watching and listening, if you are in that space and you're looking to find your purpose, you can hear him right now. You can see him. This guy is a heartfelt, integrity-based man. And I mean, come on, it is 2:30 in the freaking morning, and he is on a live show with a guy from LA area in California. I mean, if that doesn't speak volumes, and he's got a wife and other people sleeping right now. And that's what this guy's all about. He's out, he'll do what it takes to impact the world and impact you. So reach out to him. We'll give you an opportunity to do that in just a moment. But there's one more question I like to end each broadcast with, and Simon, and we'll give people the opportunity, or you the opportunity, to let people connect with you. And I understand you have a giveaway as well. We'll get to that too. But this last question I ask of every single guest who's been on this show, and it's kind of a doozy. And if memory serves, on your table or desk, it's all blacked out. You have no idea what it is.
That's right.
And so that's on purpose. And it's quite a telling question. The question isn't telling, it's the answers that come back. And it's amazing. Before we jump into that, though, I promised everyone watching live that they would have the opportunity to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star Mexican resort. And that time is now. So I'm going to put it up on the screen, and then I will say it audibly for those who are listening live. This is for you on live. And that is, take out your phone. We are giving you express permission to actually divert your attention just a hair and take out your phone and type in this phone number. Type in 661-535-1624. And then down at the little message area, this is in your text application, type in the word PEAK, peak, PEAK. Type that in and tap on the little send button. I was going to say blue send button, but people might have different different colors on their phones. Again, that number is 661-535-1624, and text the word peak, PEAK. We pick a winner every single show. I hope it is you. Yep, I'm speaking to every single one of you. And let's hope that is you when the time is right. Here we go. Back to the man of the hour and the question of the evening. Now, I want to kind of ease the curiosity, if you will, because I kind of set that question up. And so I just want you to know, Simon, that with this question, there is no such thing as a wrong answer. It is impossible to answer it incorrectly. So you're off the hook. In fact, the exact opposite is true. The only correct answer is yours, because it is somewhat personal. The response is personal. It means different things to different people. That's what I mean. We're not getting into your personal life. So are you ready?
Do I have a choice?
We do. We talked about that. We all have choices.
I'm choosing to be ready.
All right. I love it. I love it. You always do. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. All right. So, Simon Crowe, how do you define success?
What a wonderful question. For me, success would be the opportunity to live and express my values. And my values are about connection and love, about curiosity, about learning, it's about contribution. And if I'm able to live and express all of those values on a daily basis, then I would say that I am living a successful life and running a successful business.
I love that. Very succinct and to the point, and also true to form. And what I mean by that is, I've been doing this show for a while, and no two guest experts have answered it identically yet. And I don't mean word for word identically, but everyone's different. It is truly a personal arena, and they're all beautiful. All the responses, Simon, they're just amazing. Yours included. you know, what I found is there aren't any that are money centric. Many, you know, those that are working, say, a job would have a different answer to that completely. You know, many of them would say, well, when I make my first million, you know, when I win the lotto, things like that. But entrepreneurs like you and everyone that before you that's been on the show who are serving in nature, they all have a similar, you know, the similarity is that none of them hang their hat on the money or material goods or wealth. It's all about, well, things like you just said, but they're all different. So it's amazing. It's amazing. So you also mentioned that you might have a little something for our peeps. And so what I want to do is actually just pull up your website so folks can see it and give you the opportunity to tell them what they can win. And I'll also help with showing on the screen how they can go about winning said prize. Sound good?
So I'm really excited about this because I have devised over the last 10 years or so a fantastic process which I call a purpose discovery workshop. It's a 2.5-hour workshop which I do work one-to-one online with somebody, and I help them to discover their true north. I offer this commercially. It's worth about $500, and I would like to work with somebody completely free. Offer this as a free gift for anybody who feels inspired to answer the question that we're going to share with you shortly and would like to do the Purpose Discovery Workshop with me one-to-one live. And the question is, how could creating clarity around your life purpose change your business? It's quite a clever question. So it's how, if you found out your life purpose, could that help you in your business?
Yeah, definitely. And then email that answer to the mail address you see on the screen. It's mail@simoncrowe.com, and that's MAIL at, and then Simon, SIMON, CROWE.com. So once again, the question is, how could creating clarity around your life purpose change, your life purpose, change your business? Yeah. You read it so much better than I do. I wonder why.
And what I will do is I'll read them and I'll choose the one that I like the most. And that person gets to work with me for half a day. Absolutely. Just for the joy of working together.
And, you know, folks, don't take that offer lightly. And what I mean by that is, you know, half a day, that is a long time in the world of an entrepreneur that he is going to be giving to you. And so take this very seriously, answer it with nothing but good intentions. And then if you are chosen, you know, treat him like he would treat you, with the utmost of integrity, and just be present and follow his lead during that half a day session. That's an amazing gift. That's worth, you know, that's worth more than $500 for most people as far as just time alone that he will be spending with you. So definitely take advantage of this amazing, amazing gift. I appreciate the fact that you're doing this. You have no idea, Simon. That's phenomenal. Thank you so much. And fantastic. Oh my goodness, we have hit that point. You know what point we've hit?
Time for bed.
Yes, that's awesome. That is perfect. That is perfect. Yes, it's time for bed for Simon. You know, it's getting time for bed for me too. You know, it's getting late out here in California. For you, it's, oh my gosh, what is it, 2:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
Whew, that's crazy. Thank you so much.
Now.
Pardon?
I said, I'm just getting my second win now.
Awesome. Now you can go in and clang around and wake everybody else up as you're trying to go to sleep. That'll be pretty cool. All right. Well, that's it for this edition of the Mind Body Business Show. Simon, thank you once again so much for being here this early in the morning for you. I appreciate you, my brother. And I feel like I've known you forever. This happens very often. It's been a blast for me. I hope you've had some joy in this, even while you're holding your eyelids open with toothpicks. So on that note, that is it. I'm going to wrap it up. And on behalf of the wonderful Simon Crowe, this is Brian Kelly saying good night all and be blessed. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching and listening. This has been the Mind Body Business Show with Brian Kelly.